Hi, I'm back. Anyway, I just wanted to do a short little video here on the securities. If people aren't really familiar with what a security is, we get the idea of securities, they trade on the stock markets and things like that, and banks involved in securities and security interests and securing property or obligations, financial obligations, debts by registering security interests, which is what we're talking about doing here as well, actually. And that's basically the entire system is operating on securities. It's all banking. And it goes back a very long time ago to the days of the, if any of you studied up in the goldsmith story, people used to deposit their gold with the goldsmith, and he would keep it in a vault. And eventually he realized people weren't coming. Only a certain percentage, approximately 10% of the people would come back to actually claim their gold. And I should step back here. And when the people that deposited the gold with the goldsmith, he would give them a receipt acknowledging their deposit of, X number of dollars or value in gold, weight, whatever, however they did it back then. And so the goldsmith noticed that only 1 in 10, approximately 10%, which was the original reserve requirement in banking, 10% of people come back to claim their physical gold. The rest of them started to circulate the paper, the receipts. And these receipts evidenced claim to the gold. So the gold was backing the paper, so that the paper started to circulate as money, as if the gold, but not the gold, because the gold was in the vault. But whoever had the piece of paper could go and get the gold if she wanted to do so. So, and it's really, nothing has changed, quite frankly. But anyhow, what happened there is that the goldsmith decided to, since people were not coming forth and claiming their gold, or 90% of them approximately, he essentially started to claim his gold as his own. And in that sense, he's presuming that the other people, I'm not saying that this has occurred, but it's fast forward to today, it's the same thing as today when we give the bank a promise to pay. Back then, it's like they presumed that people had abandoned their gold. So then the goldsmiths go, well, they're not coming to get their gold. You know what? I'm just going to say it's mine. I'm going to start to leverage other securities, other of his receipts against that gold. This is exactly what we have going on today. And so it's all of a sudden, so the bankers know he's got paper floating around out there backed by the gold, but the gold's not his gold. And neither of these promises to pay that we're giving the banks today, or any security for that matter, when you make an application for a credit card, it's a promise to pay, because you're promising to, make monthly payments on the card. And most people, or a lot of people, have interest obligations there. So, and all of these things, these mortgages, these car loans, these credit card applications, so on and so forth, which are all promises to pay, securities futures, are all bundled up and securitized. And it's a very good video on YouTube, how credit cards become asset-backed bonds. Only about 8 minutes long, but it's very good and helps to understand that process of securitization, which doesn't involve us, but it's just interesting. And but main thing I wanted to do here is I wanted to show you something with respect to security, so people aren't real familiar with what securities are. And so I wanted to bring light to that. I think I mentioned earlier in the previous video, but for example, when a brand new automobile rolls off the assembly line, it's brand new, didn't exist until it was finished. And once it's finished, it's got a birth certificate for it, which in Canada they call it that new vehicle information statement. In the United States, it's called a manufacturer's certificate of origin. It's a very valuable piece of paper, because whoever holds that piece of paper owns the car outright. It's not allodial ownership, but it's like allodial ownership. Whoever holds that piece of paper legitimately is the king of the hill, with respect to the claim to that car. No one can touch it. So for example, when you register the vehicle, that piece of paper goes to the government. So now you see that now they become the actual owner of the car, and then of course it's registered, so you end up with a certificate. The process there is no different really than the registration of birth. The statement of birth is, certificate of origin, if you will. It's registered, government gets that, so now they've got that, the ownership, but remember, it's actually yours, because they're presuming you abandon it, but they keep on going here. So they have that, and then of course you end up with a birth certificate of the title, if you will. And it's at that point that things change, because whether it be the new vehicle information statement or the registration of birth document, when those are presumed abandoned, then the certificate holder at that point is recognized as the trustee. Bottom line. And again, that's part of the problem. Now, whereas if you didn't register, the vehicle was not registered, and when you purchased the vehicle, you took that piece of paper, you received that new vehicle information statement or manufacturer certificate of origin with the vehicle, then and don't register it, well then it's your car outright. There's no licensing, ownership, insurance, or any of that stuff is required anymore. But anyhow, that's not my point here. It's just that these things are, whether it be a new vehicle information statement or MCO or registration of live birth, they basically represent the same thing. And in that sense, they are securities. Again, whoever holds that new vehicle information statement or the registration of live birth is holding the absolute ownership at that instant, provided they give value. But that's who the king of the hill is, and because we haven't claimed these, you see, so there's the problem. And but they are securities, is my point. And so anyhow, this is from the Ontario Securities Act. Your own jurisdictions will have the definitions of securities for wherever your butt's at. So anyhow, so this is the interpretation section, definition section 1.1. Security includes any document, instrument, or writing commonly known as a security. It should stipulate here, a lot of securities, they don't say on the top, this is a security. But there are securities. Like I said, a new vehicle information statement does not say on the face it's a security, but it is a security because, again, whoever holds it has the superior claim to the property that it identifies, i.e. a car, or your human body if we're talking about registration of birth, you see. So also any document constituting evidence of title to or interest in the capital, assets, property, profits, earnings, or royalties of any person or company. Here you could say a security agreement. When a bank does up a security agreement, a security agreement becomes a security. It depends on the terms of the security agreement. But in the case of farming and crops and stuff like that, well, it's covering the fruits, right? The things that have yet to come. So, and in fact, we also have a security agreement, which is very short, very sweet, and very simple, and it's only 3 pages. But anyhow, so carry on here. Any document constituting evidence of an interest in an association of legatee or heirs. Any document constituting evidence of an option, subscription, or other interest in or to a security. A bond, debenture, note, or other evidence of indebtedness. Or a share, stock, unit certificate, participation certificate, certificate of share or interest, pre-organization certificate, or subscription other than blah, 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 blah. I can read it all here. An agreement under which the interest of the purchaser is valued for purposes of conversion or surrender by reference to the value of a proportionate interest in specified portfolio of assets. Blah, 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 blah. Any agreement providing the money received will be repaid or treated as a subscription to shares, stock, units, or interest at the option of the recipient or of any person or company. Any certificate or share or interest in a trust, estate, or association. Any profit-sharing agreement or certificate, any certificate of interest in an oil, natural gas, or mining lease, claim or royalty, voting trust certificate, any oil or natural gas royalties or leases or fractional or other interest therein, any collateral trust certificate, any income or annuity contract not issued by an insurance company, any investment contract, any document constituting evidence of an interest in a scholarship, blah, blah, and any commodity futures contract or any commodity futures option. It is not traded on the Commodity Futures Exchange, registered with or recognized by the Commission under the Commodity Futures Act, or in the form of which is not accepted by the Director under that Act. So my point here is to show that what a security is very broad. And you just have to see these pieces of paper for what they are. For example, if you have a check in your hand and it's paid to you or your public estate, the all caps John Paul Smith just put that off the table for a second, but you got a check in your hand that says $500, and that's payable to you. It's your check. You're the payee, if you will. You're not the drawer. well, then in your hands, that check is a valuable security because it's giving you the claim to that $500. Be transferred from the payer's account to your account, but that's the value of it, and that in itself is a security. And so anyway, this gives you a very good idea of what constitutes a security. And we get down to the Securities Transfer Act, which is really the one that we're focused on. So just to clarify this, there's no question in that registration of birth document, like a new vehicle information statement, like an MCO, are securities. They are definitely securities. Like I said, everything you do in this world is going to be done in the name of that original birth registration security, and it's you're the one doing the work. So if you see the value in what I'm talking about here in your contribution to that account, that situation, and for that reason alone, it's a security, all right. You are the only one in that entire account in your lifetime putting value to it. So a financial asset means this again. So Securities Transfer Act, Article 8 UCC. Interpretation again, definitions 1.1 of the Act. Financial asset means, except as otherwise provided in sections 10 to 16, a security. So there you go. Security is a financial asset. This one here is interesting. The registration of live birth is the financial asset, a security. That's what they're talking about here. Okay. What I qualify as the pretend bar of gold. Again, we're not talking about an actual physical bar of gold here, but pretending. And the birth certificate is not the interest itself, not the registration of live birth / gold bar, but evidence of claim to it. Like a ticket to claim your jacket from the coat check clerk. You won't get performance out of the coat check clerk who's acting in the capacity as trustee. You won't get your jacket if you not present the claim ticket. For purposes of this, in simple terms, that's what the endorsement and return of the birth certificate does. It's like taking you win a lottery ticket, you sign it, you hand it over, you get your lottery winnings. You have that claim ticket for the coat. Oops. Sorry, I popped out my microphone. I'm going to put it back in here. Darn. Hopefully we're back on that. Let me check. Anyhow, I'm just going to stop the screen share here for a moment. Sorry. Make sure I'm on the right mic. Says I am. We'll find out. It's AI, artificial idiot. Sometimes I wonder which is it, the machine or me. Anyhow, screen share. So back to this document again. Okay, so the registration of birth is the financial asset, and the birth certificate, the short form you have, which is just a further interpretation of financial asset from the same legislation 1.2 here, and this is also, you'll find this in UCC 81029-3 Roman numerals, and so the birth certificate itself is not the interest, not the financial asset, not the bar of gold, but the claim to it. Like I said before in the goldsmith story, same thing, people. Nothing's changed. The language is different, the forms change, and that's another thing. In this system we have today, it's form only, no substance. Hence, trying to fit man into a dead, no substance system is a waste of time. Man is not meant to be there. It was meant that we endorse that certificate back on our 18th birthday, so the day we were no longer a child, you get it? So anyhow, and just for your interest sake here, this is from the same legislation, section 13, Bill of Exchange Promissory Note. A bill of exchange or promissory note to which the Bills of Exchange Act applies is not a security, but is a financial asset if it is held in a securities account. If it goes into that account, it credits the account. Trust me. I'm not going to do all your homework for you, but in this same legislation is the definition for securities account, and that's where you'll see it. Credits the account. It's your note. It's your property. That credits that account. It's your credit. That's something you need to be focused on right here, right now. But just to be aware of that, as I said we had in our intro there in to the first video. It's the governments, or everything is, the people are basically presumed to be the bottom feed debtors here.
And when in fact it's not us at all. We're the ones granting the credit. We're the ones without which those legal entities, banks, I don't care what you want to call them, that exist in name only, would have no function, no purpose, no nothing. They would be deader than dead. No purpose. So anyhow, I hope that helps, and there'll be some more stuff come along, I'm sure, in the form of videos. And God bless. Thanks for listening to me and putting up with me. And till next time, chat soon. Ciao for now.